on.
Oh. Welcome in, everybody. This is AOE Productions. This is our weekly D&D game. Thanks for everybody for joining us. I'd like to thank all the players. Thanks for all the work you guys put into the stream, showing up every week. Appreciate it a ton. To jump right in, our kind of wrap conclusion to this arc is upon us. We are just through the labyrinth of Acamus Mora. In the sessions prior, they killed the three sisters with a leader, the Night Mother, some kind of fiendish night hag, wielding some kind of green flame magic in darkness. After that, they traveled into the labyrinth of Acamus Mora. Going through, they found some kind of weird numbers puzzle, helped navigate them through. Using a little bit of brute force and then a lot of cleverness, they made it through the labyrinth in a pretty good amount of time. Felt like they were going pretty quick. Descending down after the labyrinth kind of ended in this slope down into the ground. As they went down, there's these blue mushroom-like fixtures in the ceiling. Aldaria took a couple of those. Not sure exactly what their purpose is, but they seem to lead off a gentle glow as they were attached to the walls. As they went down, they encountered first this dark room, cavernous, with all these mushrooms around. 4 spirit sand kind of wolves were summoned or perhaps placed there as a way to intervene with their adventure and challenge them. Aldaria and pressed the large, seemingly main wolf for a little bit of a clue as to what was going on, and it said something to the effect of, "These are the trials of Astrius." Continuing forward, the party ended up going through 4 separate rooms. Through some clever remembering, they kind of figured out that those different rooms each aligned with a different aspect of the stars under the masculine signs: the wolf, the fox, the fish, and the giraffe. Each one having a trial or a puzzle related to the specific aspect that it might represent. They navigated through each one methodically, figuring out just how to get through, using, again, some brute force and some very strong cleverness, made it through to the end. Coming through this kind of puzzle area, they came out into a wide cavern. It looked to be almost like an underground, gnomish of design city almost, or maybe even elven, just under the ground with these mushrooms everywhere. Glowing red mushrooms, blue mushrooms, green mushrooms, growing out of everything. They entered into this cavern and they just hear fighting everywhere. There was tons of these mushroom-like creatures, zombily walking at the civilians and eventually attacking the players as well. They called the mushrooms in the process of the destruction of the city. People defending themselves. The party came through slinging spells and slashing swords, saving people one by one, helping fires be put out of buildings. And finally, as the carnage settled down, the party found themselves in the middle of the city, people passing by, looking busy, like they're going to go do something. First giving quizzical looks, wondering who might these people be. They didn't recognize you guys, and they do live underground, so you're gathering that they were very, very interested, but too busy, probably going and running a fire water bucket or making sure their family members are safe, to those effects. But quizzically looking and then thanking as they kind of make their way by you. Eventually, the crowd kind of cleared, and you saw a small halfling woman, ripe with age, just so old, walking hunched over, Yoda-like, over a stick. Walked up, right up to, pretty much up to like Nova's like kneecap, kind of tapped him on the foot, looked up with a great big cartoonish smile and just wrinkles of smiles and age, and said, "You must be Nova." With that, we'll begin our session. She walks up to Nova with that big smile. "You must be Nova." And squinting now, you see her kind of scan across all the rest of the faces. Waddles up to Erzan. Erzan, it must be. Nice
Hello.
to meet you. She waddles over to Alderia. And I know this one. Very special one indeed. She kind of reaches up a finger as if to flick your nose, but is too short. Alderia.
Hi.
And then she kind of walks up to Kyler a little slower, this time staring very intently. Almost a frown, but like comically on her face, not like disappointed, but like, I don't think I recognize this one. Who might you be?
Kyla, charmed.
Kyla. Not a name I've heard before. It's a pleasure, young one. Well, you must be looking for the Oracle.
We are looking for the Oracle.
Yeah.
Are you her?
You have found her. Don't be shy. Come along with me. She kind of turns her back to you and waddles towards you saw her kind of exit this pavilion looking like longhouse kind of element, probably about 4 or 5 blocks down the road, the largest structure you've seen in this place, but also notably probably the most kind of archaic looking, basic stone and wood log and that kind of thing, whereas some of these places almost look modern with like shingling and very, very well constructed places, and even metal street lamps, as we noted before, kind of dotting the road. This Oracle individual starts walking forward. Quizzically has not introduced herself yet, but she seems a little off her rocker anyways.
As we're following her, can I say, so you know all of our names now. What's your name?
I thought you'd never ask. My name is Raga. Prime Seer Raga Fiercefish. It's a pleasure, Alderia.
It's really
And
nice
all
to
of
meet
you.
you.
This moment's been a long time in the making. Just still waddling at just the most excruciating pace. Just, you can practically feel her bones creaking as she moves forward. Let's see. Okay. So I'm sure you must be wondering, what exactly is going on here, huh?
I was wondering exactly that. What is going on here, Raga?
Well, you see, every so often the sentient mushrooms grow up from the ground and pester us. Usually not in such force, but with your help this time it wasn't any trouble. Seemed to completely deflect from probably what you're actually wondering. She eventually brings you into the longhouse. Steps inside. All right, get in, get in. Taps at your feet with a wooden stick as you guys.
Do I fit?
You technically fit, but it's
okay.
You're like you kind of squat down. You can tell this is kind of like definitely a half person's home once you look inside, but the structure is not necessarily such. The door is small, but small to your standards, not necessarily human standards. She has to kind of reach up and grab straight up with her arm to get to it, but it seems that she's probably very familiar with this and is not having too much trouble. But yeah.
What was her full name again? Raga?
Prime Seer Raga Fiercefish.
Fiercefish. That's a dope name.
Well, come in. And she kind of taps at your feet with her wooden stick to kind of make you dance a little bit if you guys dally, and then eventually you guys kind of make your way into this. It's like kind of like a corridor that goes out into the rest of a room that you can pretty well see now. Very Yorvasker styled, like long tables surrounding like a large bonfire. There, sit there. And she points, and you see 4 red cushions kind of sitting in front of this fire. make yourselves at home. I'll grab drinks for everyone.
I'll take a seat.
Yeah.
You got it.
Do you need any help, Raga?
She kind of looks at you, twinkling large eyes. That would be fantastic, Urzan. Come with me. And you see Urzan and Raga kind of make their way. She kind of holds onto his hand and brings him to what seems to be some kind of foyer or kitchen area, probably. And eventually they return. Unless there's anything, would you like to do anything in this moment of individual contact? Okay. She kind of prepares some tea. You see pouring strainers through different cups, and you see in this room there's a couple different strange vials, almost potion-like looking, but she pops the cork off a few of them, pours them into some tea, mixes them up in like a little shaker, and you can see very spry compared to what you'd expect from her. Just like kind of Monster Hunter making the food vibe. Gets all these teas prepared on a nice silver platter. Would you carry this for me?
Of course. I'll take it from her and
Wonderful lad. I always knew you would be.
follow behind her as she walks back out.
Okay, she leads you out. Sits down with her own cup of tea. Well, truthfully, I received a vision that I was to deliver to you many years ago, when I was but a child. That's when I was determined to be the prime seer of our town. Would you receive it?
Gladly.
Yeah, of course.
I knew Fates had something in store for you all. And who knows, maybe Kylar, you might learn something too.
I'm curious that if you recognize the rest of my companions, that I'm a mystery.
Mysteries are what make the world go round, child. Well, unless there's anything else, we can proceed. Drink.
Take a drink of my tea.
As you guys drink it, you get this very first of all, earthen tones. Very much almost like powdered earth kind of, and you get like chunks and soot in your teeth. The aftertaste is sweet, almost like a lightly sugared tea, and then it just turns back into that kind of earth kind of. This is like more matte towards the end of the flavor, and you kind of drink, and as you take a sip, she kind of insists until you guys have drank most of the substance.
Gritty.
Yes, indeed. Okay, now this is the important part. She takes a sip of her own tea, sets it off to the side, sits kind of between, like to the side, but between you and the fire almost.
Are we about to trip balls?
For layman's terms, yes.
Oh.
All right,
here we go.
Are you ready?
Peyote.
You see she kind of slides a silver bucket next to her, takes a ladle, and across the fire. You guys see as the steam rises up. Seems like a huge fire, first of all, comparatively. But the steam seems to stick for a moment. You guys hear this whistling kind of bristle around you. You see Raga closes her eyes and her hair starts kind of almost floating as if static is on it, and she seems to be casting some kind of incantation to herself. You hear her muttering.
I lean over to Nova. I think I'm starting to feel something.
Oh man, I ain't yet.
The edibles don't kick in until you say this ain't shit, bro.
Man, this ain't shit.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, here we go.
But you guys feel this rustling of energy around you, and it starts picking up this kind of groaning incantation. You see Raga kind of swaying now. The fog starts to cling even harder to where you see an image appears in it to all of you. First, you see a man standing back with his, like, kind of over the shoulder, the left shoulder position. You see him kind of at first in this almost like taunting chest out, and then slump over in worry. The details of the man completely modeled in gray. They seem to be wearing pretty well dressed, like light leathers, kind of twisted gold trim. But the details of the skin completely gray, hair completely gray. You see no actual details of this individual's like personal visage, just clothes kind of over like a gray doll almost. You see this person standing kind of back and then slouched forward in worry on a plateau that seems to be directly next to the sea, facing out towards the sea. Over his shoulder, what you see is just this vast array of ships. Excuse me. Just a vast array of ships smashed and splintered and destroyed. You hear cracks of thunder. And as your focus kind of shifts from this person in the foreground, you see a young man floating kind of atop a shifting, almost like skateboard, like floating across a shifting piece of wood. Kylar, you do recognize this young individual as someone in particular. And as your focus is kind of drawn to this person in all of this carnage, you see this enormous tunnel cloud. Just this roaring mixed with thunder of this like mouth reared up and spinning, almost like a great worm kind of coming out of the clouds, lightning in its maw. You see the person look up from the carnage towards the mottled gray man, stick a hand out, and let out a silent scream too far away to hear. And from the inside of the mouth, you see this hand of more fog come out, reaching towards this young individual. As that happens, this mottled gray man, you get a first-person image, looks down to his hands, looks up and around. The image is different. You see now in a barred cell with chains across, this mottled gray man rips their chains, shattering into dust. Looking up across from him, you see a gray-skinned individual, or not gray-skinned, a brown-skinned, kind of just this matte palette brown, completely neutral, almost like dirt, looking with these just dead eyes at Kyler with a subtle, oh my god, I'm sorry, I messed that up, at this mottled gray man with a very subtle smile. Reaches out a hand, and the vision cuts there. Next, you see what seems to be a mountainscape of snow drifting, just almost like the eerie silence of snowfall. Looking up in a first-person perspective, you see a single star floating above. Looking down and around, you feel the image yanked forward, floating across infinite landscapes, deserts, trees, palm trees, pine trees. You see creatures flying by of all kinds of different biomes. Finally, as if hitting a train, like hitting a wall in a train, you feel the image stop. In front of you is a labyrinth, eerily similar to the one you were standing in front of before. See a hand reach out and gently touch the outside of it, as if wondering if it's real. Looking up, you see the single star again, and slowly the flicker of a second star. With that, the image changes yet again to a very ornate room as the camera kind of panes down, looking towards the feet and looking up again. You see this ornate room, kind of it's similar to the outside of the labyrinth of Acamusmore that you saw, with these structures of large battles and giant dragons and worms just thousands of untold battles fought in this one piece of art. Towards the center, an amulet that you do recognize, Sundered Nova, is resting on a very ornate pedestal, hooks like dragon claws over it. You see the camera kind of pan over towards the center of it, humming now. You see it glow white and whiter and whiter and whiter, and you feel this cacophonous force slam into your chests as this image almost takes real life effect on your body. You see now a very familiar pendant to you, Nova. Seems to be sealed back together with a thin crack showing where it was once broken, emanating just a powerful magic. As you do so, your vision shifts once again. Looking at this pendant, you see your hand reach out for it, and the background changes. Looking now, you see the war-torn battlefield that was once in the walls is now around you. Men and women stabbed to the ground with spears and swords, viscera everywhere, and a very consistent cacophonous, similar sounding lightning strike of just this, and that force emanating in your chest once again. Erzan, notably, you see this creature walking towards you. At first, a comfortable and happy sight. You see this angelic figure donned in a very, very promiscuous towel with one leg kind of sticking out mostly from it, with the other one covering his bits, but just so. You see him at first take a stride towards you proudly, and you kind of look around and double check your surroundings again, seeing the familiar mountaintop in the background, a beacon of light emanating from it in this swirling radiant energy. Behind that, you're seeing this lightning web down in this black and blue kind of mixture of colors, very unsure of what's going on. You see this creature walk forward, you double take and look back, and now it's stumbling, energy pouring out of its mouth and eyes, almost like waterfalls of radiant energy kind of pouring out of its eyes, zombie-like meandering towards you. You now directly see yourself, Erzan, from a third-person perspective. Reel back in horror, cover your eyes, and the vision fades there. As you see the fog kind of swirling in this vision, one last element unfolds itself before you. A wheat field, calm. You see little, almost figurines of yourself in the fog. Look left and right, noticing each other standing next to each other. Kyler, Alderia, Erzan, Nova. Before you, you see an immense creature with behind it a large, large ocean, faintly tinted purple. That creature seems to have a almost deer-like structure, long, skinny legs, probably in the realm of about 20 feet tall. A puff of hair on its chest, proud and white, with the rest of it kind of the antelope deer brown. You see this kind of snarling Chinese dragon-like face, wrinkled nose, long tendrils drifting back slowly. From at the top of its head, you see enormous antlers, hundreds of candles nestled into every crook, slowly burning and melting. It looks at each of you, one by one, in its massive presence. Lets out a puff of air from its nostrils. "You have done well to find us," you hear ringing in your head, the creature not moving a single muscle other than to turn its neck from one person to the next. "Now, when the world needs you most, do not be afraid. Our fate cannot be taken from us, for it is a gift. Wisdom can be found in all places." Now shifting its head towards Erzan. "Learn, grow, crush, repeat." The female aspect now speaking out to the kind of mottled gray individual that we now know as Kylar. "This is how you leave your mark on the world." to Nova. Korthiger, have you bent low? You're just kind of this almost like preposterous chuckle. And then finally turning to Alderia. Knowing too much of your future is never a good thing. Leans back now. One of the kind of tendril-like tentacles leans up, down, and right in front of your face, Alderia, taps you right on the head. You just feel this gentle kind of brush almost, as this starlight starts emanating from your head slowly at first. No pain, just this glowing bright white light. As the fog tends to take this color, the image completely consumed by the white. The vision is over. You kind of come out of the bleary, dizzying state, blinking. Feels like hours have passed of just uncomprehendable action almost taking place. You see Raga smiling at you.
I need a bucket.
She hands you the pail of water that she used to splash the... I've carried this with me for over a century now.
Do I have that amulet?
Mm-hmm. You feel along your neck. You see the broken amulet in your hands.
It's cracked just like it was.
Cracked just like it was.
Shit.
Can I try to fix it?
The amulet?
Try.
You're certainly welcome to try it.
Can I
If
just
there's anything
try,
you'd like to do.
try
Yeah.
bending?
No, you better not.
Okay.
I'm just gonna like tuck it back in. It's very old. I'd prefer and it, although it is cracked, I prefer to leave it as it is.
Well, that was an adventure. I haven't relived that in many, many years.
You can say that again.
I've met that creature. In a dream.
The
Which creature?
dragon
Area?
thing.
The dragon deer elk thing.
Dragon deer elk?
I met him in a dream. In a field. A wheat field.
The
That's
hell?
how I found you guys.
I have a recurring dream. We were there for a moment. Don't know what any of this means, though.
Well, interpretation is difficult.
It's in the eye of the beekeeper.
It is in the eye of the bee holder.
Oh, right.
A very, anyways.
You're really close. Good job, Nova.
Thank you.
I've been told that bee holders are very sacred in the above ground, where they make sure that none of their bees get sick or any such thing. I've heard they're endangered, but anyways. I can only interpret so much. I have little context to know anything outside what I've seen.
Is my forehead glowing?
You kind of feel it seems normal. You look to your party members.
Is my forehead glowing?
No,
Okay.
not anymore.
Okay.
So
I mean,
you guys,
I can make it glow if you really want me to.
No, thank you. I was just curious.
Okay, all right.
all kind of in this stupor. Raga kind of looks at you, Erinn. Do you know the creature you've met in that vision? Perhaps this could shed some light.
I feel almost like a fatherly presence from him.
Fatherly. That is quite disturbing in that case, as he seemed to have some form of menace towards you.
He's only ever seemed friendly and fatherly before. I've never seen him like that. This scary.
Perhaps there's hope yet. Again, just this wrinkly, smiley face. She doesn't seem to have much more to say as far as the interpretation goes. She kind of takes each of you one by one and sits in front of you. And at Alderia now. What have you? Did you learn anything?
I think I'm more confused, honestly. I've met that creature in the last vision before in a very similar place in one of my dreams, and he said the same thing to me. That knowing too much of my future is never a good thing. And I was confused then, and still pretty confused.
She's gonna go ahead and make a religion check. She kind of scratches her chin for a second. I can't say for certain, but you are a follower of the stars, no?
I am, yeah.
We practice a religion here. A worshipping of the fates, as it were. Very closely related to the star sign and worship. I believe you might have met Astrios, the male aspect of the fates, in that vision and in your own. What that means, though, I'm unsure.
And he's of the religion that you practice here?
Yes, the Labyrinth of Acamus Mora is dedicated to the worship of Astrius. Only those who are fated by Astrius may pass through.
Huh.
You see, when you leave here, we have much work to do. Astrius will send me a vision, and I will spend the rest of my life reconstructing the labyrinth for whoever's to come next.
Well, dearie, you've seen that creature before.
Yes.
It spoke to each of us this time, and it, for me at least, it said what that heavenly entity has always told me. Learn, grow, crush, and repeat. It's been a part of my vision for a while now. But I had never seen that creature until today. Has anybody else seen him besides Alderia?
No, I never seen that.
And
That
think,
voice was familiar, though.
Right, the voice is familiar to me too. It was just the same as the entity that I've spoken to in my visions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really one for visions or nothing, but do you miss
Raga.
something fish?
Fierce.
Feisty fish.
Prime Seer,
Fierce.
Raga Fierce Fish.
Do you you ever heard of something called the separation?
The separation. Well, I've heard it in your vision. Let me think. Oh, okay. Nova, you've never heard of the separation, dear.
Well, I've heard of. I was told of it, but I never knew what it meant.
I suppose my time above ground was long ago. Let me talk to you for a moment. She kind of sits down cross-legged in front of you and holds your hands kind of clasped in her own and looks at you just really concerningly sincere. Just like kind of looks up in your eyes. Nova, the separation is when the archdragons left our plane permanently. They stripped the dragons and the dragonborn of their ability to have more than one color.
Does that mean I'm gonna be in trouble, or?
I don't know what their intent is, nor why you exist. So I cannot say more, but perhaps it's a sign. Do you know of any other Dragonborn who have experienced this evolution? Looking almost like kind of concerned and furrow-browed, like
No.
you're gathering she's very out of the loop as to the above-ground news of the world goes.
No, that's why I think I'm gonna be in trouble. Somebody did this to me. But I didn't ask for it, and that's what I told them. Because they got pretty peeved when after it was done. But I ain't heard nothing since then, so I figured maybe I was off the hook. But it kind of seems like I'm getting talked to again.
Perhaps this vision is a first step into that talking to. I certainly have no clue what you've gotten yourself into, my child.
Same, lady.
Well, that is all I know of the separation in detail. I hope that does help.
Yeah, kind of know what's going on now. Thanks.
In that vision.
Yeah.
Did
Is this to Raga or to Jesse?
You.
Okay.
Did we see a purple, lavendery ocean?
Yes, it was kind of just like a lavender, light purple ocean, kind of spread out behind this creature. You were all standing in the grass, and then there was a very thin strip of beach with just kind of purple water lapping at it.
Okay, it's the same ocean I saw.
Yeah, you're gathering it's the same thing you saw before. Almost extra planar, like you're brought somewhere that is not remotely material relative normal. So, and then finally she kind of scooches over to you, Kyler. Did you gain anything from this vision? I do not see your visage in it, but
Can't say that I did. I didn't recognize anything. Maybe I'm just along for the ride.
Damn shame. Well, if anything does occur to you, let me know, and I will help you as best I can to process it.
Can do.
Is there anything else? I was simply told I was to disseminate this vision to you all. You're welcome to stay in our town. Of course, there's a little repair.
That's what I was gonna ask.
We'll prepare beds for you all in the lobby.
So, is that? Do you know other things too, or?
I know a great many things, Alderia. What would you care to know?
Do you know what happened to the ram in the sky?
I did have a fatalistic vision that it disappeared.
Did.
I know little of the feminine aspects, you see. Seeing as we worship Astrios, I know not even who lords over them. But I can tell you an event like this takes place once in a millennia, if that. Rare indeed. I wish there was more. Usually they happen during times of great strife or great triumph. Sometimes a new symbol is born out of them. But sadly, I haven't even a record of the last time it happened.
Thank you.
So does this mean we should avoid wheat fields, or perhaps seek one out?
Maybe a little of both.
You're not a whole. You're somehow simultaneously a huge help and none whatsoever.
I'm
But,
not
like,
sure
that
it works
whole
quite that way,
vision-
Nova.
That whole vision, it was
Raga,
so helpful, but also I'm confused.
Yeah, yes, sir, Zen.
it seems that the only commonality between the four of us is that this visage of Austrios spoke with each of us and said to us something that we're all familiar with. Can you tell us more about Austrios?
Well, let me do just that. Give me 1 second here. Well, I just want to make sure I pull up the stuff
Astrius?
that I can.
Astrius.
Not Austrios,
No.
but I have a light British accent.
Where will you be when Astrius
Astrius.
comes?
Well,
TikTok.
the things most of you probably know. He represents 4 masculine signs. The wolf. Loyalty and ferocity are its aspects. The fox. The aspects of cunning and deceit. The fish. A follower. Part of the natural cycle of life, death, decomposition, and recycling. The giraffe. That represents grace and peace. Beyond that, I know a little. They rarely appear to those that are of our plane. I've heard there's much worship in places such as the Feywild and the Celestial Sea. Both aspects tend to be nimble. I've never directly heard anything from Astrius myself. The closest I've been is in the vision I've been bestowed to show to you. Hearing vicariously through the vision. I believe that to be Astrius. I could be wrong. What else can I tell you? I know that in the outer planes and in some inner, they have temples they call astrolabes. They seem to be, from what I've read, large, representative of gyroscope-like structures open to the air with large telescopes that tend to point into the sky.
Like this, but larger.
And I hold up
This.
the one that I found as well.
Indeed, yes. I like that, but large, like a building almost, like a structure that you would reside in with no roof. The one I've read about faces the stars in the astral sea. Other than that, I know that there is a counter personality, a feminine one, that represents the bear, the whale, the ram, and the snake. But I know not of its origin or its name, or whom worships it. In our village, we worship Astrius, perform rituals, and every few decades, or rather centuries or so, a Camus returns and elects a new prime seer after the passing of the last. Once my time here is up, I pray that one of my offspring should be so lucky. The rest of the village is dedicated to growing and learning, worshipping, and providing an outlet for the prime seer to focus solely on tales such as this one, where we carry it into our last days.
Thank you, Raga. I have one more question.
Of course.
As we were making our way through the labyrinth, the very last room that we encountered before coming into this cavern had 5 doorways. It
Yes.
seemed that there was a doorway directed at each of us. For example, there was a doorway with the symbol of my god Tyr
The Alpha.
above. Yes, the Elthical. The Elthical was residing above the doorway. And on another doorway there was a lone star, which seems to be what Alderia has been searching for. Do these separate pathways lead anywhere?
Well, when we were constructing them, I knew that these elements would be things that would be tied to you individually. So you see, I was instructed to build them in an attempt to divide you. Whereas the wolf represents loyalty and ferocity, the power of the pack. When you chose that door, you made it through as a unit.
See.
Whereas apart, separate and going after your own personal goals was led to failure.
It certainly does seem at this point quite definite that all of our fates are tied.
It has been fated since long before any of you were born, I'm sure.
Thank you, Raga.
Of course. Now, you all must be very tired after that experience.
And hungry.
And hungry. We have much food
I believe
to
it's
prepare.
called the Munchies, Nova.
We will prepare a fine resting place for you all tonight. Truthfully, it was very timely of you to show up, and you did too. I'm sure some of the townsfolk would love to get a chance to meet you. You must understand the meeting of fated individuals, ones that hold prophecy, is rare at best. Some people go their whole lives without even seeing it. Some oracles even will be dedicated just to hold on to an vision such as this one to pass it on to the next person. So I feel very, very lucky indeed, is what I'm trying to get at. But with that, why don't you all take a seat right over there? And she points to the two smaller tables and a long table. She points to the side table there. There seems to be four good spots for you guys, kind of chairs pulled out with the similar red cushions for like seating along this table. Empty plates, and at this point, Raga kind of gets up and starts ushering people around. She's kind of goes outside and gets a couple people to start spreading the word that the ritual is done and the festivities are to begin and those kinds of things. You guys hear commotion. Is there anything you'd like to do?
So I want to tell everybody. Last time I talked with Astrius, he told me the same thing he told me today, but he also told me there's never only one way, child. That is why there are two fates. So just so everyone knows, he also told me that. Just to add to our confusion.
Good, yeah. Starting to think like I had things down there for a second.
Just thought everyone should be confused with me, or if anyone has any
I ain't got
insight.
shit, man.
Well, at least now we know that Austrius has a name, first off. I'm sure that's probably enlightening for you. And also a counterpart. A sister, maybe? I'm not sure, or a wife. But there are two of them. Perhaps that's what he was referring to, I don't know.
She'd represent the ram. I wonder
Right,
if her followers, she would know more.
Perhaps. Definitely have a lot to ponder on.
What do you know there, quiet guy?
I didn't even see myself in there. None of it was familiar to me. I don't really know why I'm here, truth be told.
You didn't recognize yourself at all?
None of the imagery was familiar to me.
Do I believe him?
To answer that question, I'm gonna have
Do you
to jump.
believe me?
I'm gonna have to jump into whispers with Senor Kylar real quick. Just to
Bye-bye.
Be right
I'll
back.
get
They go in sneaky mode. Well, now our stream is real messed up.
what's happened so far.
And we're back.
Welcome back to tonight's episode of AOE Productions Forged by Fate campaign. Oh. Okay.
All right, good night,
What if we
everyone.
just got like 15 followers from that?
That would've been so
Hey,
dope.
man. If that's what it takes to get followers, you know.
I'll do whatever it takes, man. Anyways,
On tonight's
the party starts off after the carnage of the mushrooms. They talk to this individual, Prime Seer Raga Fiercefish. She leads them into a log cabin kind of looking element and produces a vision for them. They see many different things from a familiar young lad being swallowed up by a large tempest in a shipwrecked sea to the stars in the sky reappearing slowly for Alderia with the face of another looking temple before it, as well as Nova seeing this amulet that he now holds sundered, clutching tight, wondering exactly what he needs to do to put it back together and what reward it might reap. And Erzan seeing an image of this creature that he is familiar with in his dreams, this very angelic entity, but in this vision it was in shambles, almost zombie-like, as he panicked and ran away from it. They, from there, went on to celebrate. The village was rejoiced with the coming of the prophecy and the people that were related to this prophecy happening during their lifetime, and Raga was there to deliver that for you, so everyone was congratulating her and super excited for her. And as the festivities kind of died down, before that really too, Kyler went off to his own to go enjoy some peace and quiet, the crowds being a little bit much for him. Eventually the players drifted off to sleep. Nova kind of clutching his medallion a little bit. The rest of the players drifting to sleep pretty calmly. Kyler, you do hear, however, as you're kind of dozing at this point, kind of half awake after hearing something near you. Not part of the prophecy, eh? Hear kind of a tomboyish feminine voice from around a couple mushrooms away from where you were sleeping. Kind of peeling through the brush, for lack of better terms. You see a familiar hot pink cloaked, deeply cowled female figure kind of standing. Bummer.
Not that it's anything to you.
Don't need to say much. It's written all over your face. She kind of starts pacing around tauntingly, and then eventually kind of squats down across from you. What is your game anyways? Kind of like sassy, like, again, kind of that, you're getting a very tomboyish vibe off of this person.
What's yours? I could ask you the same thing. You've showed up out of the blue, or should I say out of the pink.
Didn't anybody ever tell you not to show your hand? She pulls out 3 cards. If you get the ace, I'll talk to you. Literally just in this flourish, brings out 3 cards.
Grab the right one.
Go ahead and roll me a D100. Actually, it is Alderia's turn to roll the D100 check, so I apologize. It is applying to Kylar in this sense, but it is. We'll keep the turn order. The sanctity of the turn order must continue. So
me?
Let's go for it.
76.
76. Beat it with needing a 66, a 1 in 3 chance.
Wow.
Hold on.
Math.
So you're marked there. Okay, let me just take a quick note. Well, you pull the ace. She kind of looks at you slyly. How'd you get that?
Look at the draw, I guess.
Shouldn't have offered in the first place, I suppose.
It is your fault for doing that, so pay up.
Well, fair enough. I've been following y'all off and on. A little interested since you picked up that book, and been hearing you mutter a couple few prayers to a god I tend to peruse with, let's say. Piqued my interest, and I figured I'd get ahead of the game, figure out what your game was, and I'll be honest with you, sabotage the fuck out of it.
Fair enough. Did you pull one over on a high priest yet?
Let's just say you're a piece of that puzzle.
Well, then I guess it's in my best interest to sabotage whatever the fuck you're doing.
You're welcome to try, dear.
So is that all? You're just wandering around with nothing better to do than to watch what we're doing?
Oh, I assure you it is quite entertaining. Admittedly, I can see from the outside how it might be a little perplexing, but let's just say I think you happen to know someone, or perhaps might run into someone that is of great import to me in the very near future. And because of that, I've found it in my best interest to make sure I know at the drop of a pin what you're doing.
Interesting.
It is. Now, are we going to share some of these tales, or are you going to leave me in the dark?
What would you get to know? Can spin you any tale you like.
Well, I do like tales. I'm watching one unfold, actually, from what I've heard. Let's start with, why are you worshipping our god Cyric? What draws you to him?
Seems to fit with the core ideals that I've got going on right now.
Well, I can't say I disagree with you there. Maybe we've more in common after all.
Always been a voice in the back of my head, and I think I found out who it was.
That's always nice, isn't it?
Sometimes. Sometimes knowing isn't quite as nice as you think it'd be.
Ain't that the truth?
Excuse me. That's
Snickers.
She's here.
Well, ain't that the truth? I tell you what. Maybe you'll see more of me sometime.
Oh, don't be a stranger, by all means.
Don't forget, pink blends in better with the sand after all. Rest
That
easy. You see her kind of pull her cape to the side, walk around a few bushes. Is there anything you'd like to do as she kind of disappears off into the foliage? Okay.
Not really. Just gonna ponder that.
Very perplexing how this individual is here and now, but seems to be very invested in your newfound religion for whatever reason. But the rest of the night goes by quiet. You guys all wake up to the next day. Kyler still nowhere to be found, sleeping outside. You're guessing at this point without any sunlight to tell. It feels like you've slept a whole night, but you know, maybe even a little extra for Xana Nova. So the extra liquor. A night plus some change.
Are you listening here?
The day is yours, though. What'd y'all like to do?
I'm gonna go try to buy potions again.
Yes, there's shops here.
It's
You guys can
time
go.
for shopping.
Shopping spree.
Meow.
Before we go, everyone remember, they're giving us honest prices. They're not trying to get extra out of us.
Why would they try to do that?
Well, that's what someone told me last time I went shopping. The guy selling it to me told me that, but
Oh, okay.
is that not true?
That's good advice.
Thanks.
Well, I don't know.
You guys navigate to the stall. Kyler, do you show up to join them?
Yeah,
or-
eventually I'll mosey on. I'd resupply at some point, so.
Gotcha. Yeah, you guys are all fed well on your way out of the longhouse, given traveling apples and things like that. Raga does make an appearance, but unless you have anything particular you want to say to her, she just kind of goes through the pleasantries of the morning. She seems very tired still and kind of just sits in like a very large chair, pretty central to this room. You're guessing people are serving her almost. But you do eventually pull up to the shop that seemed to be very alchemy and potion based, and you see two, I believe it was to Alderia, if I remember correctly. This slightly blue-robed figure has the hood down around and a simple brooch. Older woman of of human make, gray, kind of stringy hair, kind of familiar now. Kind of cracked smile lines. Welcome, individuals of the prophecy. What can I do for you?
Y'all got potions?
Got many potions. Brewed.
What about ones
mostly-
that would somehow cure my wounds?
Yes, I've got a few potions of wound sealing. Here. She reaches into a bucket and kind of, not a bucket, but like a small chest, and reveals like kind of like a lichen stuffed chest with 3 small glass vials. These ones here are just of a common variety. I figure better to get a lot of little ones than one big one to sell. Easier to sell around here. What have you got for trade?
Coin?
Like
Is it,
gold pieces. We don't usually trade in coin down here.
How about? And now this is a one-time deal. I got this long sword, clink clang, and these 2 hand axes, clink clang. Could I get a couple for these?
They seem sturdy enough. I suppose we could use some extra weaponry. I could probably sell it off to the smith. For these, I could probably trade you one of these potions.
Just
around
one?
Around this time, I'll mosey up. The healing potions here. I don't have any.
Yeah, but they don't take coin. So
Are you of the arcane persuasion by chance?
Yeah, here. This is my spellbook, and this is a. None of you guys are wizards. You're gathering that if you were a wizard, you'd probably gather that showing your spellbook is a pretty weird thing very exposing of oneself.
Right.
But she
this-
kind of. This is my spellbook. This is my favorite.
Very
spellbook.
intricate diagrams.
this is my favorite. It's like it's a
This
photo
one-
album.
Yeah, she's like pointing at this
My
photo.
favorite.
I haven't been able to master it yet. I did cast it one time. It changes people into like beasts and those kinds of things. For a
Oh,
very brief
I can
period
do
of
that.
time. Really?
Yeah.
Do you think you could help me learn how to cast a spell? It'd be worth a great much to me.
Yeah. But I
don't think
we'll
that-
talk in a second.
Okay.
I
Looks
I have
hopeful for a
some. I
moment.
have a scroll that contains an arcane spell, and I do have a couple potions that I'd be willing to trade, potentially for some healing potions.
Very well.
What strength do you have available?
These ones are of a base level, just
Base.
meted out such that they could make sure as many people get them as possible. We've no great need for the powerful mancies of greater healing potions. and the like.
Well, the scroll I have is actually of a first level spell, so I think that could be a potential trade as well, and that could be something that you could potentially learn how to cast yourself.
For a first level spell scroll, I could give away the last 2 of these, I believe.
Certainly, it is a spell of long strata, I believe.
Longstrider, I've never heard of that one. May I?
And indeed, I let her examine it.
Unscrolls. Oh, the runing on this is fantastic. I would love to make this trade, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Just scrolls it up. You see her reach below kind of this like cart, like not cart, but like a table, for lack of better words, and pull out a scroll tube and swoop, twist it in. And here, if you don't mind, Sir Nova, I believe it was.
That's me. Yeah.
Just, if you could just hand me the potion, I'll just to give you the whole chest. It's fine
Oh, right.
for safe travel. Kind of closes it with a latch. Here you are, and delivers a small chest of 3 common healing potions to you all for those.
Perfect.
Is there anything else you require?
Did she take my weapons too, or was that just for the scroll?
Yeah. The scroll was 2. The weapons were 1.
Okay.
Do you have any more advanced alchemy books?
Well, truthfully, I haven't done most of my alchemy with books. I've been mostly meeting it out through trial and error. I could show you what I know. It would take some time, but
I I can show you what I know about wild shaping. If you can show me something about alchemy.
Okay. Well, do you want to make an ordeal out of this? We could trade information over the course of a few weeks and try and see if we can't teach each other more. Otherwise, I can simply show you a potion brew or something like that I have figured out myself.
Yeah, let's do that.
The
I don't
latter
know
option?
if the team will want to stay for a few weeks.
Okay. No, that's very respectable. I
Yeah,
understand.
that's a big no.
You've got a lot to attend to, I'm sure. You're all part of the prophecy and all.
I mean, to
I
be fair,
believe
where the fuck are we going next?
I don't exactly know, but I do know that Nova, if you could pass me one of those potions, I would be very appreciative.
Oh, I thought she gave them to you.
I don't know.
Up to
I
y'all
don't
to
know.
decide
I
how
don't
you
know,
want to
take
divide
it.
them.
I just need
She
one.
just
on
Oh,
my
yeah,
handed
hand.
you
if you want one, I'll take the other two.
Yeah, I didn't have one
Okay.
previously, so I figured I should have at least one on me.
Sorry,
Uh,
carry on.
Yeah, for sure. No worries. Alderia, looking at you. Well, I suppose I can show you. Oh, this is a good idea. You see these little mushrooms dotting the landscape. Now
Yeah.
they don't last forever, but when put into a concoction and simmered, and she kind of shows you like over a Bunsen burner on a small hot plate. When simmered, the resin that they excrete will typically enhance the strength of any potion that you're using. So if you make a potion that, say, casts a light, as if a light cantrip was happening, and you added some blue cap to it, it might turn into something such as a daylight spell with enough of it. Or maybe even grander magics.
And how many of those typically do you need to enhance? Is it like one mushroom?
Usually one mushroom is about a dose of it, and multiple doses could make the concoction less stable but more powerful if successfully completed.
Alderia, I actually received 4 of those blue caps myself last evening.
Oh, awesome. We can work with those. I have 3 personally, so we can maybe add them to the healing potions or something.
Indeed, that was my thought.
I will say, as part of what I've learned with alchemy, the cooking process and the procedure with which you create these things are very tenuous. I think just adding something to a healing potion would likely render both nil.
So maybe making a healing potion.
Probably need to make it at the same time as you're distilling these things. It's quite a delicate process, and part of it is synthesizing all of it together into one concoction.
Do you have a recipe for a healing potion?
Yes, I believe I do. Give me just a moment here while I find which tab it's on. Oh, where are you? Here? No. Sorry, I have it somewhere. Give me just a moment. There we go. Where are you? Oh, okay, there it is. She pulls out a small scroll. Now, it's quite rare, and you'll usually find it growing attached to some kind of weeds deep in the ground. It's a mixture of organ root and other synthesizing components that probably come along with your alchemy toolkit, solubles and those kinds of things. And if you take it at this temperature, and she walks you through this process of like, you heat it up and then cool it down and then heat it up again, and then as you do that second heating, it drips into a distill into a solution. As the solution fills up with the compound, it generates this regeneration effect. Difficult to find, but worthwhile. Truthfully, if there was more, I would always take it. That's why I only have 3 potions. I was only able to find a few organ root last time I went foraging in the caves.
Right. Thank you. And I'll teach her I'll show her how I use the natural magic, and I'll wild shape for her. Show her how I do it.
You gather after a few attempts. She's perplexed, first of all, and second of all, she kind of looks at you once you come back into human form. Is like, which arcane runes did you use? I didn't follow. She looks at you and pulls out her book as if to take some notes, and you're kind of like, I don't. But she doesn't seem upset. She just is more perplexed than anything.
Yeah.
Takes notes on what she can, learn about. Frustrating. Perhaps I'll take some more time to meditate and think about that. Is there anything else I can do for you all? Oh, very well. Well, Astrius be with you all. May the fates guide you.
You as well.
Good day. And she kind of turns around and you see her take out another notebook and start writing some stuff down, like frustratingly stabbing her pen at stuff and like trying arcane runes. Very much trying to figure out how to use this polymorph spell with this new angle that kind of approached her, but seemingly unable, perhaps. But yeah, the day is your guys' to pursue.
Should I mark anything down on my path to alchemy proficiency?
I'll say in this case, it was more of a trading of information, of like base information, less so like skill training that you're doing. Yeah. If you succeed in making one of those potions, perhaps that kind of thing. But yeah, the day is yours to.
Were those just normal healing potions?
Just common, yep. 2d4 plus 2 apiece.
Can I go find Raga?
Mm-hmm. You are probably pretty aware that she seems to be hanging out in the log, as they call it, the main cabin. And when you guys return, if you all go with, you see her kind of enjoying a breakfast to herself. Is there anything else people want to do?
No. I'll probably just tag along.
Okay.
I want to ask her if there's a way that we can get back here without going to the whole base, since it's going to be changed now.
Glad you asked. I do have something, actually. She is going to fiddle around in her pocket. Where is it? Where are you? I swear to God, I wrote this item down somewhere. Super sorry, guys.
It's all good.
Is it in the adventure tab? What the heck? Here we go. She does give you a small looking compass. Let me just put that in the lore dump for the sake of ease. For you guys to read, a small looking compass. And she goes, this can help you travel when you'd like. It's called the Compass of Astrius. It will point in any direction that you name. And if sundered, can be used to teleport somewhere. If the chosen location is to return to the temple, it will work without fail.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that after we leave here, we get to know that.
I dearly hope so as well, Algeria. It would make me smile to see your adventuring faces once again. The road ahead of you is long, and if you ever need a familiar face, I'll be here, reshaping the labyrinth as you know it. Is there anything else I can do for you all, then? The world is yours to conquer, after all.
No, I think you helped us about as much as you could.
Unless you have any advice on what to do next. I think that you've done more than enough for us.
Well, prophecies are fickle, Erinn. They are. The way I see it, there are a few different options, I suppose. There was that person for you. Perhaps finding them would be a good place to understand what trouble might be awaiting you. Certainly there's something over the horizon if I've learned anything from your prophecy. And for Alderia, there was a vision of another labyrinth. Perhaps that's where the feminine aspects lied. Maybe
There was a
another
second
prophecy leads
labyrinth?
you- Yes, in the vision.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a separate labyrinth.
Yeah, I thought that was just this one. So I'm right there with you.
If you look very carefully, and she'll actually you'll see her cast these small arcane runes. You see a small image, probably about that big. Here is our labyrinth. Outside we have a great battle depicting the archdragons over a field of soldiers with the great worms of old as well. She kind of sunders that, and I know only of this place through the vision, but this is what it looks like from there. And she pulls out the vision, and this one seems to be a familiar kind of war-torn battlescape, but the dragons and the great worms aren't there. It seems to be all men and women, like clad in armor, like on the ground, like, you know, piking at one another and sword stabbing at one another. It seems to be, you're guessing, probably either less accurately depicting the same battle, or less fantastically depicting it, or a completely different battle of some kind. And I'll say, for the purposes of this, to Erinn in particular, go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Yeah, 7.
7. Yeah, it's you're guessing probably a different war-torn battlescape of some kind. It seems to be a separate piece of art. This indicates to me that it's either one of two things, I suppose. Either this labyrinth in the future, once we've remodeled it, but that'll take another some odd 60 years. I guess that won't be likely. Or perhaps a sister labyrinth of sorts. As for you, Nova, it seems that there's some form of relic that you need to unsunder to continue your quest. Something about a separation, or the separation, that needs to be solved. Perhaps this relic is symbolic to that?
Something like
Erinn
that.
too? It's hard to say.
Fuck. Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, we have heard of a dragon around some parts.
Really, a dragon in the deserts? I've not heard of such a thing in most of my life.
I believe it's to the east in the
In
forest.
The Sabertine Forest. Sabertine.
The Saverntine Forest. Well, if you're lucky and it's old, and it doesn't have any desire to harm you, it could know more. It's hard to say. But
Wait a minute. This is the labyrinth of who?
Canis Mora. the
Okay.
creator.
Sorry, I just got
Yeah.
confused with the because there's also Antonio or whoever.
Astrius, yes.
Asterisk. There it is.
Canis Mora was the first worshipper that I've been made aware of, at least, of Astrius on the plane. He built this labyrinth in dedication to him. I've met him once, long ago. I was but a child.
Hmm.
Do you
He was
remember
the one
him?
that- Yes, he was, at the time, he was a bit of an older gentleman, a human. Graying, but not white-haired. Tall like a mountain, and you're gathering she's probably as she says that, kind of wistfully thinking about this person because she was a child halfling. Tall like a mountain with a powerful force of presence. I only saw his face once during the ritual when I was named Prime Seer. Beyond that, he typically wore his cowl deep. But he was never one to do anything but pass kind words. A wizard, I believe. Very powerful as well. He put on many shows for me as a child and taught me all that I do know about the worship of Astrius, limited as it is.
How could he be a human if he built this labyrinth and continually comes back over centuries?
You see, she kind of like almost like a religious person, like being faced with like an inconsistency in their faith. Kind of looks like. That's a great question. I suppose I ought to ask him in my old age what his secret is if I ever am so lucky as to meet him again.
Not to disturb you unduly,
Of course.
but we did meet somebody who claimed to have found his final resting place and retrieved his spellbook.
That's what I was just reading. I was trying to figure out what the hell that meant.
You see, Raga like starts breathing heavily.
Whether or not that's true, I'm not certain. If he is indeed as a powerful wizard as you say, the person we met might have been him in disguise, which is maybe what I am tending to think at the moment.
I certainly hope so. If Camus is past, his will still be met. You see, she's very flustered, trying to think of like the right thing to say without, delving too much into the details of what that might implicate.
Is that the
Coup d'etat?
Udatoth, and he sold the book to Carrick Flinton?
They sold the book.
They sold the
He
book.
sold the book to Carrick.
No, he has the book.
That's a different
He sold religious texts that Erzan was interested in.
Yeah.
the one he sold to
That's
Carrick.
Yeah,
okay.
we asked about the book, and he's like, "You got a couple cool 100,000 K."
He said 15 gold. 50,000 gold pieces was what his price was for the book.
spell book, and I'm like, I got 50 planned.
Yeah, he produced the book, but the text that you were thinking of to Carrick was texts that Erzan was interested in, based on the religion of Tyr and the like origin of Aasimar, if I remember correctly.
But that's a conversation for another time.
If you do find any more, and I know it's a big ask, but if you find a way to magically communicate, or find yourself back in the area and find a way to communicate with us, it would be greatly appreciated if any further news was brought to us.
If we are able to, certainly.
It is grave indeed that it is even a possibility. As far as I know, he's lived for many hundreds of years.
As I said, the person who claimed to have found his final resting place knew a very awful lot about this labyrinth, even offered to show us through it at a price.
Interesting.
So I think maybe we have had the best of us taken. I believe this expression runs.
Well, I'll be honest, it sounds a bit out of his wheelhouse compared to the man I knew, but it has been near a century since I've seen him, so people do change. Maybe he's having his fun. She kind of looks wistfully down towards the ground.
Well, I suppose we'll just we'll give him your best either way.
That would be greatly appreciated.
So we're gonna walk out of here. You got like a back door.
I can have one of the druids craft a path for you.
That'd be phenomenal.
As for everyone else, did I cover? I suppose Kyler. None of that vision was for you, but hopefully my insights have helped guide you towards a path you might choose, depending on if you like it. And if not, I'm sure fate will wrap you up and take you away in some direction.
We'll just have to see what comes.
We'll just have to see. Well, you'll have to see. I'll have to pray that it comes in a timely manner for you. Well, she kind of stands up and cracks all of her backbones and hands. Well, I will grab one of the druids for you, and they will craft a way out of this dark place. Perhaps I'll go visit the upside. Yes. She kind of walks off and grabs a young druid. You see a very shy-looking young red-haired halfling, kind of rosy-cheeked. Looks at you all. If that's all, then we can continue on.
I believe so.
Okay. Just right this way. And as you guys, you're guessing, she seems to be wearing kind of like almost furs and like kind of like a wooden structured, like bramblewood necklace of kinds, with just very natural leathers on. And she seems to walk with pride, but when she kind of looks at you guys, kind of this like timid, like, holy crap, the people I've heard about since I was a kid comes over her. But she navigates to one of the edges of this large cavern. It takes you guys probably about 15 minutes of walking. And eventually she very painstakingly, almost earthbender style, starts like pulling dirt out, making this slide going up, and you guys follow behind her, kind of navigating around the dirt as she pulls it around.
I'm just slack-jawed. This is so cool.
Yeah, it's very, very fascinating. Even for you, Aldiria, being more familiar with druidic magic, this is not something you've seen before in any mass of this size. You're familiar with like the mold earth level cantrip, where it's just like a small amount that you can kind of mold and pull. She's taking large sheafs of sand and dirt.
What'd she bring the kid for? Dang.
I'm gonna, like, while she's doing it, be like, that's really amazing.
Thank you, Aldiria. It's a spell I developed myself. It's been proven very useful for Raga. And she continues on. Eventually, the dirt gives way to sand that you're familiar with, and it's a bit of a longer process once this happens. More annoying. Sand starts getting everywhere and falling a little bit as it's unsteady. Coarse, rough, gets everywhere.
And it's loud.
But eventually, you do see sunlight peek through after probably about a 2.5, 3 hour process of this climbing slowly towards the surface. Wiping sweat from her brow. She squints out into the sunlight. Super bright out here. You guys are all kind of getting that overwhelming sunlight vibe. Just like, ugh. Face turns into raisins. And hers in particular, she kind of puts her eyes up. Ugh. Well, if that would be all then. It was such a pleasure meeting you all. Now a little bolder, now that she's not looking you in the eyes. Under a small amount of duress. Good evening. Or afternoon.
I have a quick question for you.
Me or the character?
For you.
Yes, yeah. What's up?
Will this thing only teleport once ever?
You're based on the description you've been given, it's when you sunder it, it will teleport you somewhere. And it casts, if you're interested in the direct mechanics of it, it uses the teleportation spell to do that. Built into the teleportation spell, there is a chance that it fails a certain amount, based on how you roll. If you choose to return to a Camus Mora, that percentage goes down to 0.
But we could use it
will
multiple
for sure not
times to return to a Camus Mora?
No, it would also sunder it.
It would just...
You have to break it, yeah.
You have to break it to cast the teleportation spell.
One-time use.
One-time use. Just as a point of order, too, do you guys have anyone individual designated holding it?
I certainly can.
Area.
Yeah, it makes no difference to me.
Matter to me.
Not at all.
say for just point of order, just in case it ever comes up, Alderia. You can go ahead and add it to your inventory. But yeah, the sand is yours. The sand behind you, you thought maybe they would close it up behind them, just seeing as the nature of these individuals is very, secretive, probably. But the young halfling kind of nods and gets out of dodge and leaves the tunnel where it is. Sand slowly kind of drifting into it, but nothing that would like immediately threaten collapse.
Should probably find our camels
Our
If
camels.
if they're alive.
It's only been
Yeah.
like 3 days. That should be alright.
Hopefully, that is
Yeah,
quite
hopefully.
quite a deposit we'll have to pay if they're not.
That is true.
Hey Nova,
Yeah.
go ahead and roll me a die 100.
Oh no.
Rip.
49.
49. All right, noted.
Camels.
Okay. With that though, you guys return to the front side of the labyrinth, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes you probably a solid another 10 minutes of walking just along this massive side structure. By the time you reach the corner, the first thing you know is you hear from inside just this. You're guessing something is already shifting inside this labyrinth as you guys are navigating around outside it.
Man, that's spooky.
You feel just a very gentle shaking in the ground. Whatever it is probably on the opposite end, or not huge, but just making quite a loud noise. Maybe hard to say. You come around the corner and you see your camels seem to be fine. One of them is laying on its side currently. There's no like blood or anything around it, but it seems to be laying kind of sideways, like.
I'm gonna
kinda
run up
laying
and make
there.
sure it's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's your bag there. I don't know what the fuck
I'm
it
gonna
is.
cast speak to animals and make sure he's okay. Ask if he needs
I'd be
anything.
pissed.
You hear kind of like a thirsty.
I'll start pouring water in his mouth.
This huge camel tongue, like lapping up what it can. Eventually, it kind of clears its eyes. Thanks. Kind of shifts its way. Hungry.
What do you say we give them all something to eat, huh?
Yeah, I'll talk to them all, ask them what they want. I'll give them options of like apples or carrots or
I'll
whatever.
use shape water to kind of hold a globe of water so they can drink from it without wasting much of it because we don't have a
Right,
whole
right.
lot to spare.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys do pretty well. The camel's getting their fair share.
Well,
You
they had
guys
their
travel-
own store of like stuff.
They had
for
their own like
themselves.
feed store.
Yep,
Mhm.
some
I'm not sure
feed
about
and
water.
I would say, just as a point of order, they probably provided you with
Oh,
enough
good.
water
Mhm.
to at least make the trip there and back. Assuming no strife, so like maybe a little low, but probably not like a deadly amount since it took you 3 days to get through the labyrinth. You're guessing as long as no trouble comes that would delay you further, you probably will have enough.
Sure.
Shall we get a move on then?
Let's go.
Suppose we should. We need to return these fine beasts.
You mean good boys?
Good boys.
What'd she say? She said we're good. You see the other one kind of, ooh, that's
Oh.
pretty nice.
Hey, that's
Tiredly.
good.
They start navigating into the sand. As a point of order, that brings us through the order of die 100s for the traveling die 100. If Erzan wants to give me a roll real quick.
85.
Okay. General good fortune. Let me go ahead and just pull this out real quick. Just as a record, I do not recommend any DMs when you're playing prep as much as me. At some point, it gets detrimental and you end up looking at your notes too often. But here we are. Part of life, baby. Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
It's
Coarse
square.
rough and gets everywhere. All right.
Loud.
That hurts.
For you three, you guys are guessing with the camels, it's probably about 4 days travel. Is there anything like pre-travel that you'd like to set up that you're doing each night, or any of those kinds of things?
Not aside from the mage armor in the morning, mage armor in the evening.
You got it.
I would like to keep working on my spell.
Keep working on your spell. Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll get 4 attempts, and then Nova. Is there anything in particular you're doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep talking to my amulet. Maybe that'll. I don't. Maybe ask my book if it knows anything about the amulet.
Okay.
I know that's not how books work, but this is a
Very
weird
special
book.
Might just work. So we'll get to that. Are you spending each night doing that, or?
Yeah, just whenever I'm alone. I know that seems kind of nuts. So
Okay. So Erzan, if you want to go ahead and roll me a Arcana check to finish the production of your cantrip.
Just one time.
One time. We'll start with 1 for now.
That is an 11.
11. With that, you guys notice Erzan taking some time summoning these runes. A very basic incantation, it seems to be, of holy magic, but from it sprouts this small dagger. At first you're wondering, well, doesn't he always summon weapons? Why is this particular? But as he grabs it out of the kind of ether, it remains solid in his hand. Seems to stay in place. A singular dagger of magic production. After probably about 3 or 4 minutes of focusing on the spell, you see him let it go. You have successfully completed your first spell. It's a cantrip. We'll get you the details in between sessions.
look at this boy.
Boy.
I made my own dagger.
Boy.
I'm at Mount Web, ma.
Ma.
So cool.
Would you like to do anything else with your extra 3 days since you completed that on your first day?
Just at night during watch, I will spend time praying and meditating on the vision that we saw with Raga, and just like looking for insight, I guess.
Okay. Are you offering like prayers, or are you more just focusing on it?
I'll say my tier mantra every night. It's more, more like meditation.
Sure. I'll say you. I mean, it's up to you in the end how you want to interpret what you saw, I guess. So I don't want to like tell you what to interpret out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you gather through a lot of meditation, thinking back, you remember first of all this creature-like thing almost taking over your body, summoning magics that you weren't yet aware of to sunder the rat singer in the very first session of the campaign. And then you remember, after accomplishing a certain goal, taking down a hag in a vision, you had a dream that he placed a hand on your chest and said, "Good job. Good job, my son." And then, again, thinking forward, and you remember reading that storybook that kind of described Aasimar kind of as like half-breeds almost. And then finally, the vision. Once again, you remember seeing this almost tender creature towards you, zombie-like meandering towards you with hell all around it, and behind the pinnacle mountain that holds the aura of light that you're very familiar with from your dreams prior. So up to you how you want to interpret that as your character.
Mm-hmm.
There are many different things that could mean, I suppose, depending on how you want to look at it. If you want to try other sources with which to do that, to figure that out, you're welcome to try and roll them.
No, that's all right. Erinn is just taking his time, meditating.
Okay.
You know,
You guys notice Erinn kind of in deep thought for a lot of the travel as well, kind of thinking pretty heavily. Then we'll get to your roles here just a second here, Nova. Is there anything in particular, Kylar and Alderia, that you guys would like to do?
Not that I can think of.
Check each night and see if there's any more stars.
Okay. Yeah, as you wander, Alderia in particular, you see the general shifting of the night sky as the season slowly grinding past from summer to fall. But nothing abnormal. And Kylar, you taking note of what happened in the labyrinth. You don't see any individual tracing or tracking after you. You're guessing they're either incredibly adept at stealth, not there, or some kind of mixture of the two, tracking you some other way maybe. If they're even still after you, up to you to kind of wonder about that. And then Nova,
Hey there.
we rest with you. What would you like to do, my son?
Well, I don't know. I'll probably just talk at the amulet the first night. I don't know, like, kind of. I don't know what this fucking thing. You know, man. What the hell are you? I know. He's just kind of like it's super incoherent. Like,
Just kind of grumbling at it a little
yeah,
bit.
grumbling at it. Like, I know.
Where did I write this stuff? One
I
second.
thought I was done with you. I guess you got more. Is there somebody in there?
You feel, as you kind of are recollecting a little bit about this amulet,
Mm.
you feel, first of all, it's not like sundered in two. It just has this divisive crack down the middle, as if you could like almost like a cracker. You feel this energy kind of like humming in your hand. Have you ever like plugged a computer in with like your finger kind of on the outlet a little bit and gotten like that tiny electric shock? Makes your arm kind of shake. It's kind of like that almost, holding on to it, but not super.
I thought you were just gonna ask
Dude,
if I ever.
don't do
Jesse
that.
spends a lot of time with.
Forks, sticking them into outlets. Yeah, don't do this at home, kids.
I thought you were just gonna say, have you ever plugged a computer? And I'm like, yeah, a couple of them.
One or two. No,
Yeah,
like it's
I
when you like
sure
actually
hope
touch the
you would.
prong as it's going into the socket was more what I was getting at.
Bro, don't do that.
You
Was
feel
an
Even
accident,
if
man.
we knew what you were talking about, it's more fun to just say no.
that's fair.
I know what he's talking about.
Anyways, the amulet kind of hums gently, and as you're noticing this, you also feel the book kind of at your hip resonating in a similar kind of magic energy. You're guessing somehow interacting with this amulet and this book, they're somehow related.
I can't because I pushed to talk on for this. I have the amulet in my left hand. I pull the book out and go, hello.
You hear, hello. No, I'm just kidding.
Kiku peanut.
No, the book
Burn it!
just seems to resonate as
Sir.
they're.
Where's the witch?
What if I put the amulet in the book like a sandwich?
What if you put the book in
You
the
sandwich the amulet in the book. The energy humming. In your hands, they start to go numb. Feeling the energy coming from the books. You feel like something's about to happen when you realize that when you touch something that is vibrating, your hands start going numb after too long. Sandwiching the amulet within the book does not seem to have any effect.
2 minutes later, I make this noise.
Something's going ham and I can feel it.
The trifecta.
You guys hear this
Yeah.
baritone like shaking of sand around you as Nova joins in the harmonic humming. but no effect seems to
Oh,
happen
man.
as you hum at it. The book seems to be producing an energy kind of that you're until now unfamiliar with.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
What are you doing?
Oh, no, you guys.
It's
I do this when you guys are sleeping.
I don't know, that humming and vibrating the sand.
If I'll say, technically, they probably would hear you dicking around with it. Up to
Yes,
it's not anything super
suppose-
concerning.
I
You're like in
suppose,
your
especially if I'm-
tent, you just hear Nova going. You like kind of wake up half groggily, like, and it's one of those things where it's like you could definitely just roll over and fall back asleep again if you
Yeah,
want.
what are you doing?
Reading.
Reading? Sounds like you're singing.
And I still have the amulet in the book as I turn around. Trying to read.
You know what? I don't want to know. Have a good night.
Good night, Kylar.
Roll over.
Nova,
Yeah?
are you sure you don't want me to fix that crack?
I think
'Cause I can
I-
fix the crack. It won't mess with the magic. It's magic.
How'd you know it's magic?
I don't know, you were singing at it.
No, I'm gonna
you
do
hear
that.
a quiet laughter from Kylar's.
Hey, I appreciate it, but I think this is something I have to do.
Okay.
Amulet.
Stop singing at it. It's kind of weird. And I'm gonna go back. to
Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up.
sleep.
The laughter continues.
Much quieter. He who be not.
It whispers back to you.
I guess, yeah, and then the rest of my nights there's gonna be like some sort of combination of. I guess I'm not gonna sandwich it again because clearly that just woke everybody up. But maybe try to read the book when I got the amulet next to it, or like try to touch the amulet when I got the book next to it. I don't know, some sort of. There's got to be a combination here, and I'm not the smartest, but I can brute force things.
Okay, so you're gonna try and pull open the book with the amulet in one hand.
Yeah, and try to read it.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
Okay.
You don't know what you're rolling it on. You're just rolling a persuasion check.
That's why, I started the sentence, and then I'm like, oh wait, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
You're gathering your force of personality might be able to drive some information out of this book as you're talking to your amulet.
A persuasion.
Persuasion.
Yeah, that one.
Pre.
How about a 15?
15. That is this one here. First, you pull out the book, and frustratingly, you catch that glimpse of the dragon that seemed familiar to you, and it disappears in a flash. Again, frustratingly, you flip through the end of the book. Nothing there. Flip all the way back, kind of like making like a page tearing, kind of sliding, you know?
Brute forcing a book.
And you're just like so angry, and you finally get back to that page. What you do see is the familiar dragon with the kind of nickel bolas bull horns. You see in detail this one. Sorry, I gotta pull out a note just to make sure I say this right and don't give you bad details. Where did I write you? Gosh, I suck at this. Here we go. Okay, so you see here the nickel bolasi looking horned dragon now in full color detail. You see a dragon of numerous colors in a familiar pose casting some kind of spell. From here you see that we drew that rune out before, I believe, but I'll re-show it to you. You see in its hands, without showing you guys any of my super secret notes, you see that rune. Seems.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember it means the energy. It's like a basic, very base level, probably old rune. you see the energy symbol in its hands. Just as a point of order, you see it's Technicolor, but it seems to be lacking all of the chromatic pattern colors. So red, black, I think
The metallic colors only.
blue. It's only metallic colors. Yeah, I could pull up a list if you want the details, but just for the short order of it, you see only metallic colors. Additionally, let's see, 1 second. You see a small phrase above the picture start to form, and it reads, "Long ago, Zur was sent to the Celestial Sea. The age of ancient power was drawing to an end." That's all it says, though.
The age of what?
Ancient power was drawing to an end.
Okay.
That's what you do get. Book reveals slightly more, as well as the familiar spells revealing themselves here and there. You catch glimpses of future fiery magics and past magics that reveal themselves to you as you open the book in a very familiar fashion to you now. The ones that you have memorized, you pull open and you see, and then they disappear, and then you see, and then they disappear, and the hints of new ones at the tips of your fingertips, just out of reach. But yeah, that's what you get.
Weird. Okay.
Okay. But as for the rest, with your 85, you guys are traveling during the second day, unless there's any other at-night stuff that we want to cover.
I just at some point want to talk to Kylo.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and do so.
So, when we were talking with Braga, she said that the 4 doors that weren't the wolf in that first room, were supposed to be like a temptation, one for each of us, to split us up. So mine was the star, and I would guess Nova's was the dragon. Erzan's was probably the sword in the hands, and that leaves a volcano, I believe. Do you have any sort of anything to do with the volcano?
Not that I can think of. Maybe it's in my future.
Weird, because it was meant to tempt us to go down them.
I'm going to
It didn't
say,
make sense.
as a point of order, Tad and Erinn, can you guys mute us real quick as Kyler says that? I'll wave at you once we're back. Okay.
That works.
Do you need me to go too?
No, you stay for this.
You-
Oh, okay.
You're part of this, buddy.
Oh.
So Nova, as you hear what is pretty much a blatant lie
Oh, yeah.
out from Kyler,
Right through the
you
teeth.
happen to know that this place that you were both taken to took place on a volcano.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna need you to roll either a deception or a performance check as your point, if you're trying to withhold the fact that Kyler is definitely bullshitting right now. Kyler, if you'd like to as well, you may roll one, but I will say
Deception or performance or persuasion?
I'll say for you it'll be deception for sure. Nova
Yeah.
is kind of like mid sip and kind of like hiccups his his water as you say.
They're the same for me.
So and again, if you know this to be false, so it is up to you if you would like to hold
That's
that
why we
secret
put the
for
big
him.
points in it. I got a 27.
27.
Completely ruined by Nova's whatever it's gonna be.
Hey, I rolled a 7 and I have a +3, so that's 10.
Hey,
Well,
that's not
Was that for
awful.
performance? Was that for performance or for deception? This
It's
will
the
matter.
same either way.
The roll will
Oh.
matter, though. But what kind of information they might be able to derive from you?
I suppose I'm just trying to act like I don't know anything. It's a performance.
Okay, performance check. Very good. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Specifically,
so after I'm
Erzan-
done stabbing them while they're sleeping, I'm just.
All right. Roll
I
a new
love
character.
big
Campaign's
cock.
over.
I love big penis. Anyways,
Magic mist of the darkness.
Pinor. Anyways, I need Erzan and Alderia. You guys need to go ahead and roll me a insight check each.
Respectable, I think. Insight 14.
Natural 20 plus 8.
I'll say for the purposes
Fuck
of
your
this,
20s.
so many natural 20s
I
for
think
you
that's
guys.
the first natural 20 I
28.
rolled.
Impressive.
I rolled a natural 20
Jesus.
on initiative once, but other than that,
Yeah,
my first natural 20.
Very good, very good.
Hype.
So for the purposes of this, Erzan, you don't gather too much. But Nova, as you're kind of prying, you see, or not Nova, Alderia, as you're kind of prying, Kylar, cool as a cucumber. No, nothing. You see Nova sipping from like a small tin, cough a little bit on some water, and continue sipping as if nothing happened.
Nova?
Alderia.
I don't say anything, but my eyes glance over to Nova.
Nova, you have gotten this look before. You are aware of what is being transferred mentally to you.
Nova,
Yes, ma'am.
do you know something that he's not telling me?
I'm certain that I know plenty of things.
It's not a lie. Oh, God love you, Nova.
Don't stare in your camera like that. God.
Just as a point of order, I was
Mhm.
sharpening my sword during this. And when he says, I know plenty of things, I go,
I'm certain I know plenty of things.
And then continue. The pattern pauses for a moment.
The absence of the scraping is palpable.
Yep.
Um,
I'm just sitting here with a wry look on my face.
Kylar seems to be pretty cool about all this. A little like giving Nova a look, but
Yeah, just out of the corner of my eye. Just,
handling it pretty cool. Nova, on the other hand, looks like he's being backed up into a corner.
Nova.
Alderia.
I can't handle this.
I had to mute myself there.
Kyler's a lot cooler than I. I can't take Nova seriously no matter what he says.
Maybe we were at a place with a volcano once, but that's not really my business to tell.
Nova,
I told you,
Bar,
I said it's not my business.
I told you all this stuff about my life, and I thought we were getting to know each other on a deeper level and forming a friendship and trust and all of that.
I'm sorry, she's small but sturdy. I couldn't take it.
that's absolutely
Man, how robust and sturdy today.
Oh my god.
I'm you shot daggers right through me. I don't know.
The camera.
Do you guys want to see a cool new thing that I learned how to do with my maul?
Sure.
Yeah,
Cool, lay on the
we're not
ground.
gonna forget that we're talking about this.
It won't hurt. It won't hurt. I promise. It won't hurt. It won't hurt. I promise it won't hurt. Well, I don't know that it won't hurt.
Well, let's find out. I'll lay on the ground.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do the thing where I set my maul on top of him. Boonk.
Okay. So Kyler, I'm gonna need you to roll up a new character. No, I'm just kidding.
Straight through you.
No, you feel this massive weight on your chest, realizing the gravity that this object, without any pressure, from Nova, even yet being applied, is pressing on you. It feels like your ribs could crack. So first of all, the strength with which Nova would need to wield this scares you a little bit. And second of all, you find it hard to breathe as you wheeze.
I mean,
And then
you picked me
Nova,
up on that before.
Okay, now try to stand up.
Okay, I try to stand up.
you try to stand up and you see these metal sheets that you're pretty familiar with now, almost like kind of rusty looking, stab out around you on either side, pinning your shoulders to the ground. As they kind of grasp around your shoulders, they dig into the sand, and you feel the metal clop around your back, almost as if it's holding you in place from both sides. The mace now emanating in full glory. You see the knotted handle of kind of the weird dwarvish beard art glowing that red, green, and blue kind of energy as he holds it over you.
Really don't like this.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Sure, that's a word.
Hold on, man. Come here, Mace. No, summon it.
Kyler goes flying with it. No, I'm just kidding.
It works. That'd be pretty cool if that's how it works.
The mace retracts and it flies off of Kyler. Wind returning to your lungs.
Well, that was uncomfortable,
Pretty cool,
to
huh?
say the least.
That was cool.
That was very cool.
So, Kylar,
I fucking tried. I thought that would be distracting enough.
Yeah, well, thanks for trying, I guess.
Sorry.
you know, Kylar, I'm very hurt that you lied.
Secrets are no fun.
No. But I guess I'll just have to move on now that I know you do have something to do with the volcano. That's all I wanted.
Mystery solved.
Technically, we both do.
With no help from you. I'm
I'll
just gonna
stop sharpening my sword and I'll look at Aldiri and I'll say, Raga told me that sometimes mysteries lead to more questions.
Wise words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, didn't
I'm
this?
just gonna be salty and hurt.
Didn't
the rest of the
wasn't part of your prophecy to like maybe just let some mysteries be?
Mine?
Yeah. Or is that what she
Mine.
said to you? I don't.
Mine.
I think it said
is
stop looking
knowing-
into your future.
Yeah, mine's
Oh,
knowing
that's
too
right.
much of
That's
your
right. I'm
future.
sorry. I misspoke there. Ma'am.
Nova, she's literally less than half your size.
You've seen her eyes, the way she just like.
That doesn't bother me.
I gotta go. I gotta go, Wesley.
I go.
Okay. Is there anything else, roleplay wise, you guys would like to take care of at this moment?
Just in the future, Nova, if we're ever playing cards together, I'll be the one to do the talking.
I don't have cards, but I do have dice.
Same principle applies.
I don't know how to play it. I just have some.
Maybe I'll teach you one day.
That'd be cool.
I don't know how to play it, just I have them.
That's true. That's in my inventory.
You guys tracking back 3 days into your travel at this point, you come across where you believe a oasis should be. What you
man, the
see
grove.
here, you kind of riding your camels, crest a hill. You see what looks to be almost a small stone fountain, probably no larger than 4 or 5 feet across. So radius of about 2.5 feet. And it rises up in 3 tiers like a very typical fountain would. And towards the top of it, you see a very rusty sword kind of stabbed down towards the middle. And this is what you're guessing where you thought you should be running into this oasis based on your previous travels. But no such oasis is here.
Sword in the stone, hey?
Well, I think it's a fountain.
What is sword? Sword in the stone.
Was the one that I saw in the pond rusty?
It was if I remember correctly, it was pretty vague for you. You could barely see it.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there was
Battles.
a reflection or some shit. You're
So
right.
hard,
You're
hard
right.
to say. You're imagining a sword underwater, probably rusty. Like that would be logical at the very least.
Nova,
What's up? What's up?
you were talking to those bird persons. Did you find anything out? This is where the oasis was, if I remember.
The grove moves.
What is that supposed to mean?
That it moves. I'm pretty sure they told us that to all of us.
It has legs. It gets up and ambulates elsewhere.
You
did
produce
say-
fireballs out of your fingertips, and you think that's the weirdest thing that's going on here? I'm sorry, ice knives, shadow blades, whatever it is that you dancing lights.
Still
I'm a
weird.
talking dragon. Sorry.
I'm a guy with a bow. None of
This makes sense. I don't know. He's fast and she's weird.
He was her queen. She was his king.
God
No.
save.
He was a skater boy.
Oh no.
They
This
were
is falling
they were-
apart.
they were siblings, so
She said, "See you later, boy." No.
It wasn't good enough for her.
Sorry, I was just taking a quick note there. What else?
I'm not offended anymore. You called me
I
weird.
was
but
writing
you
down
said
our
weird.
lyrics. I was writing down our new lyrics. No. Just posterity notes. You know, DM stuff.
sir.
But this fountain does seem to be in front of you. It doesn't seem to be pouring liquid of any kind.
No.
It's a dry fountain.
Just kind of almost more of like a statue, but in the shape of a fountain with a sword stabbed above it. You guys are in range now of probably about 20 meters away. You see it pretty clearly. Pretty flat piece of desert compared to what you're used to with the waving hills of sand too.
I mean, if it ain't got water, I don't know that it's really.
It's worth investigating.
I mean, sure.
All those stories that we hear growing up about magical swords and magical stones. You don't want to try pulling it out at least a little.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Why?
Because it might hurt the grove, man.
The grove isn't here.
I don't know. The grove had something to do with a sword in the ground. I don't know. And this is a sword where the grove was.
The sword had something to do with the grove? What?
That's what the bird folks told me. And they said that it might hurt the grove if you take the sword out, so I didn't say nothing.
I'd
may-
say the grove's not here.
So maybe it'll hurt you if you take it out now? Well, I don't fucking know, man.
This could be
Can I augur about taking the sword out?
But, like, what if it does hurt the grove, though? Do you guys really want that on you? That was a nice grove.
I gotta Google something real quick. I'm gonna mute my mic so you don't hear me mashing my keyboard.
That's fair. Well, I mean, I'm certainly curious enough to try.
This looks like a rusty piece of junk to me.
Ugh.
God bless you.
Thank you.
He-
We're clean. Just want to make sure I didn't have boogers all over my fucking...
It's a good thing to check, especially wearing black.
All right, I'm back. I was very confused by something, and I had to make sure that I was not going insane. You want to cast augury?
Yep.
Okay, doing the very familiar ritual to everyone now. You see all of the different, this time feminine star forms appear before you. You ask Weal or Woe for what, pulling out the sword out of the fountain?
Yeah.
You hear Weal and Woe.
Alright.
So we're right back where we were.
Well, I would say we're not. We know that something bad will happen if we pull it out.
But also something good.
Can I cast find traps on it?
Or we could just leave it alone.
now that you said there's a magical sword with a magical grove,
I was keeping that a secret because I knew one of you fuckers would try to fuck with it. And that's
not one to leave a puzzle unsolved.
No, Zach
with-
just doesn't
I'm
like
with
to leave
Nova.
things, swords and things.
Don't put magical swords and magical stones in my character's path. I'm gonna unleash a dark god on the continent.
I promise you, I will continue to question your morals with different events like this for the rest of the campaign.
Well, too fucking late, because
That's all right.
Kylar is me, and I can't let it go.
Yep. That's fair. What would you guys like to do? Are you going to try find traps?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's the exact effect of find traps? If you don't mind reading.
Sense the presence of any trap within that range that is within a line of sight. A trap for the purpose of this spell includes anything that would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect for you. Unexpected effect you consider harmful or undesirable, which was specifically intended as such by its creator. Thus, the spell would sense an area affected by the alarm spell, and glyph warding, or mechanical pit trap, but would not reveal a nature weakness in the floor. Blah, blah, blah.
Sure. You, with your spell, do not detect it's a trap, but you're gathering with the nature of the spell that it is not a harmful effect, but an undesirable effect. If that makes sense. Something with this trap located on this trap located on the sword would involve an undesirable effect upon resolution of interacting with it somehow.
Alright, I'll just pass that all along, all of that information, and let everyone choose what they do and do not want to do.
Let's compromise. Alderia, will you augury and say, ask it if we don't touch it, if anything bad will happen? And if the answer is no, let's just move on.
Alright,
Well, I think it,
I augur
How long does augury take to cast?
instantaneous for me.
So 6 seconds.
It's a trait of my star map.
I mean, it's maybe, I can't remember. I think the spell itself is like a minute. I'll say as a point of order, it takes an amount of time to get the actual blessing or receive the actual vision. The spell casting itself would be the action at 6 seconds. So depending on how long the vision lasts, probably in the realm of maybe a minute.
Yeah, it's just casting time 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, so the cast itself is instantaneous, but like the vision
It
then
says,
takes over.
yeah. It says you cast the augury and guiding bolt spells without expending a spell slot and without preparing the spell, provided you use the star map as the spellcasting focus.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just say for the purposes of this, just as a flavor thing, it wouldn't make much sense for it to be more than a minute, or less than a minute, just because it has to do the action, that it takes. But a minute goes by, and you're asking it.
As it happens, I go touch it.
I mean, you touch it, nothing seems to happen.
Do I feel any magical vibes off of it?
No, it feels like stone. As you touch the sword, it feels stone-like.
Does
not
it feel
metal.
like it moves?
Not really. Are you trying to yank it out?
I just give it a very gentle, see if
As
it
you
moves
you prod, it seems pretty sturdy.
Okay, well the light show's happening. I try it.
Okay. We'll say you guys each roll me an initiative check. See which one resolves first. As Kyler kind of takes a moment to do this with his back to
I only get an
Alderia.
initiative roll.
16.
17.
17. Kyler, you pull the sword out. Right as you do, nothing seems to happen for a moment. Alderia, what is the exact question you're asking?
If anything bad would happen for leaving it.
If you
Just
leave it,
If we didn't touch it.
you get resounding. You hear nothing, meaning a neutral. Like no result would come of it if you don't touch it. Kyler, you pull this sword out. The first thing you notice is the hilt is very Narsil, kind of edged and broke, where the rest of the blade should be. As you do so, the statue starts kind of shaking, and you feel it almost like beneath you atomize into sand. You fall to the ground and kind of on your knees now, kind of scrambling to kind of stand up. You see the blade is also now melting. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Rip.
Yep.
Dexterity saving throw.
I lied. There is a harmful effect. Sorry.
Lies.
Might be
Non-natural
just
20.
casting 3 spells. It's fine.
Non-natural 20.
Not natural 20. Yeah, you take 5 points of force damage as this sword kind of erupts into dust. You're gathering whatever was here. Seems to be pretty much gone, reduced to atoms at this point. Yeah, sadly, whatever it was seemed like interacting with it triggered something to happen.
Oh, mystery solved.
All
Let's
right.
hope those Kenku are still alright.
I'm sure they will be.
Just get on my camel and I start. Keep on the way.
Just got to take a quick note of what transpired. All right. The next day goes by swimmingly. You guys gather that the road was very clear this time. No large scorpions in your path or any of that. Eventually, you make it to, I believe it was Cleve was his name?
Yeah, the orc.
Cleve sounds right.
Got it written down
Yep,
in my other
Cleve.
notes.
Yep. Return to Cleve. He's in a very familiar position in a kind of rocking chair style. Big tusk sticking out, one chipped. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a journey.
I see none of my stock have been injured. Appreciate that.
Not at all. They've been excellent companions.
Very well.
Really great conversationalists.
She
I'm gonna say nothing else.
she
Just that.
talks to animals. It's kind of a thing.
Well, I'll be honest. Every now and again, I talk to my mutt too, so. Interesting phrasing, I'll say that much. Well, if you want to ring them up to the barn, they'll give them a once-over. Any damage, maiming, death, foolery, magic. My boys will detect it and fine you thusly.
Absolutely.
They're in the condition they seem to be in, which is excellent. Then you've nothing to worry about.
We'll bring him up to the barn. Have him do the once over.
Okay. You guys bring them up to the barn. Couple multi-racial creatures of all kinds. You see a drow and a kobold now working, unstrapping the gear that they provided for you guys, saddles and bags of water. Giving them the once-over, the pat-down, and eventually they clear you guys, seeing as there's no trickery. They kind of take a moment with the one that seemed dehydrated at first. They can, they kind of listen into his heartbeat a little bit. It's
I'll tell them like, oh, he was dehydrated, but we talked about it. I gave him water. He said he was feeling better. No other explanation.
The drow. You see a drow male with just shock white hair and blank pupils kind of look at you just quizzically. He said he was all right.
She speaks with the animals.
Well, he looks all right, so I guess. Wipes a little dust off of him from the barn. I think you should all be good to go. We'll clear these, and your deposit is safe. So no worries there.
Appreciate it.
Good day.
Good day.
Kind of ushers you out of the barn. Kobold kind of in tow, tugging at him, talking. You're gathering this is probably a younger creature. With Valtine on the horizon, just a few miles away. You guys navigate back. Unless there's anything you'd like to do, you arrive in town. And you're back. You're back in Valtine with the world as your oyster. places to go, people to see. Is there anything you'd like to do before we wrap up tonight's session?
But I have to wait for next week.
I'm gonna go see Jasmine.
Go say hi to Jasmine.
Yeah.
We'll see if Udatop is in that same spot.
Yeah, I'll go with Alderia.
Go visit Udatop.
That's what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Okay. Nova, do you want to depart right away, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll depart to visit Jasmine, and she, in a big embrace, grabs you on the cheeks and is stoked to see you. Is there anything specific you'd like to do while you're there?
Nothing. I can't wait.
Okay, yeah, you guys mingle and hug, and she's excited. You're gathering the persistence with which you're pursuing Jasmine. She's pretty into it. Taking it slow though, but she seems very ecstatic to see you. As for you guys looking for Udatop, you see, even grander than before, this large kind of camel-strapped booth at the height of day. Now, probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The camel itself has a little like awning over its head and an awning sticking out from it, where this little like bench array around it is formed for Udatop to stand. Welcome back. What can I do for you?
I'm glad to see that you're giving your camel shade.
Yes.
Have
Seem
you
has
been
been quite
giving-
happy since you've given me those care advices.
You've been giving him lots of scratches?
Numerous. I even brought a scratching pole from Cleve the other day.
You're a good man or woman, Udatop.
I do appreciate that greatly. And gives you a very sly look of like, I am a very great man or woman, aren't I? I see that you've all returned, other than the dragon.
Yeah, he's at the inn currently.
Hmm.
He had
Okay.
other pursuits in mind.
Let's just say I might have heard a thing or two. Good for him.
He's got a big
Well,
heart.
what can I do for you today? We've many goods as always, and plenty of coin to trade things for. If you've truly traveled to your destination and returned successful, I'm sure you have something I'll be interested in.
I need to sell some stuff to him. Got a lot of stuff. I'm gonna sell him my leather armor.
I'm gonna pull out a quick worksheet to, if we're gonna get through the grindy stuff. Just make sure I get these. Leather armor.
Yep.
As you pull out the leather, why it doesn't have you on there? There we go. I suppose I could offer you 9 gold pieces for this leather.
10.
For a recurring customer, why not?
Alright.
He hands you a small pouch of 10 gold.
I also have this topaz. Giant topaz.
Takes it from your hand. Do you mind?
Go ahead. No.
Just gonna go ahead and roll a roll as he's investigating. Oh yeah. It's a fine piece. I could offer you 300 gold pieces for it.
Yeah. Sold.
Very good. It's quite a find. Where did you come across this?
I don't remember.
Well, you see, if you look closely, and he pulls out the small scope, and you kind of entices you to rest your eye against it. If you look closely, you can see in there small little cracks of energy, and you look closely, and you see almost like lightning bolts tracing through the gem, kind of following a rigid structure. I believe you have a gem of some kind of enchanting purpose, deeply magic. Perhaps in use for lightning magics, I believe. But I would love to acquire it from you for that 300 gold pieces.
Sounds good.
Okay. He offers you the small, now large pouch that is 300 gold pieces.
And then I'm gonna sell him back the beginner's alchemy book.
I'll take it for 7 gold pieces.
That works. I got a lot out of this. This is a really good book.
I'm incredibly pleased to hear that. You've learned the basics of alchemy then?
I have.
Well, if you'd like, I have the intermediate and expert texts. Of course, anything beyond the expert texts will be up to your deciphering, of course, but there are many great alchemists in our day. Perhaps it would be worth trying your hand at it as well.
Yeah. How much for both?
Well, for the intermediate, I could offer it to you for 45 gold pieces. For the expert, I could offer it to you for 120 gold pieces.
So 165.
165. I tell you what, as an incentive for a recurring customer, I would accept 160 gold pieces.
Sure.
Very well.
Since you've been giving scratches.
I'll make sure to let Seema know he caught me a good deal today. Kind of winks at you.
So it's an intermediate.
So you have an intermediate and an expert level alchemy book. You're guessing the expert level alchemy book, as a mechanics order of things, it is going to be intense to get through.
Yeah.
But if you do, the reward is probably very great. The intermediate one, you think you're probably prepared to start training in. And you think that would be a good first step, obviously, before getting to the expert level stuff.
And then I just want to ask him what I'm going to show him the mage bulbs and ask him what he knows, because I forgot to ask the lady.
Yeah, let me just get those up real quick. Gosh, I need to reorganize how this stuff works. I wrote this stuff down, right? There we go. For the mage bulbs?
Yeah.
Okay. For each of those mage bulbs, I could offer you approximately 60 gold pieces.
What do they do?
Well, when distilled, they are what is used in a mana potion, such as this one. And he reaches into a small drawer, pulls out a small blue vial. A single one would produce a basic one such as this, which would restore a base level spell of energy to you. Mixing them with other ingredients could perhaps increase that potent effect. I know if you mix them with other mage bulbs, it usually brings up an individual level per use of a bulb times the level of that bulb. So for example, if you used 3 of these, you could return a secondary level of spell, for lack of better words.
So spell slots.
Yeah, basically. What he's telling you mechanically is each. So for one first level spell, you could distill this into a potion for using 1. For a second level spell slot, you could use 3. For a fifth, for a third, it would be 1, 3, 6, etc.
Oh, okay. You know what? I think I'm gonna hold on to these for now.
Very well. Is there anything else I can do for all of you?
Not for me, thank you, Ugatoth.
Of course.
And they have greetings from Raga Fiercefish.
You may tell her hello? Kind of looks at you very quizzically, like he has no idea what you're talking about. If you want to roll an insight, you may.
Sure, we'll give it the old cog. All right. Natural 20, so 23.
23. You're gathering that with a natural 20, you gather that at first he is completely dumbfounded, as like legitimately, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
And then upon second thought, he seems to relent a little bit. You're getting the vibe that maybe this person, if this was just any ordinary blank slate person, you'd probably guess that they don't know this person, but maybe have heard of them. Being the context, that might change things for how you want to interpret that, but that's kind of what you gather with your natural 20.
Okay.
You may tell her hello.
I will. She seems interested to your next visit.
As am I suppose. May I ask, why would this person want to say hello to me?
Just a hunch.
Very well. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Kyla. Now, if there's no more business to conclude, it's getting rather late. Seema needs to stretch his legs.
Indeed.
Very well. And a good evening to all of you.
You as well.
You see Udatoth start packing up, folding in like this table on itself as it kind of folds into this really neat kind of contraption that just almost looks like wooden armor against Seema once it's all said and done. The pavilion all wrapped up and the awnings all pulled together. And with that, I think, unless there's anything else you guys are trying to accomplish tonight, we'll go ahead and call the session there.
Right.
Should we, since next week's going to be a little weird, should we let everybody know if there's people
sure.
watching?
Yeah, what
Yeah.
were the days we had to choose from?
It was Friday
Tuesday
or
night?
Tuesday.
Friday
I believe.
night.
Okay, it'll have to be Tuesday.
Have to be
Tuesday
Tuesday.
for me. That
Yeah.
works for me.
So
That's
instead of
ideal.
Wednesday, we'll be back on Tuesday.
Back on
Say,
Tuesday, everybody.
Normal time, 6:30?
Normal time.
Yeah, that works for
6:30.
me.
Yeah.
Dope. All right. Much love, everybody.
Woo!
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in as always.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.